deserve the best.
And you know what? You deserve the best, too. It's live from the Santan Valley. Tom D. Camillo, Joe Carrero. This is CAClive, and coming closer to the holidays. And, Joe, it's the weather is cooling off finally. Well, you know what? It was record highs yesterday, but in the morning and overnight it was pretty cool.
This morning at about 9 o'clock, it was still 48 degrees out here.
Really?
I was shocked. It heated up quick. It's 66 now, but
it's
beautiful hot tub weather.
It's that time of the year. Central Arizona College, don't forget, CAC tonight. Well, actually, the last couple nights, CAC, this has been a big week for Central Arizona College. A lot of events going on. The Rocktacular took place last night. We had a guitar recital 2 nights ago. Just a lot of terrific things going on. We've had some Wall of Success inductees on the last couple weeks. But today, we have a special guest with us by the name of Mike Petite. Mike's joined us in the studio here today, and it's part of Mike has brought in and partnered with Central Arizona College to bring some community shows to the Penn Center, and actually 4 outstanding shows. And the first one's coming up this week. It's the 4 Preps, and I asked my father-in-law. I rattled off some of their songs, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, I remember that." And he wanted to come. Unfortunately, it's his 50th wedding anniversary on Saturday night, and there's a huge party, so he can't come. But he was disappointed. But he did recognize the 4 Preps and a lot of the popular songs. But there are other shows that are coming in January. And Mike, welcome to CAClive. We appreciate you coming from wherever you come from. Where do you come from? Anaheim. So you come all the way from Anaheim just to visit us in the Valley.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about, first of all, the show that's going to go on this Saturday night, and then I want to talk more about the overall sort of program and how you've developed this and the success you've had in Yuma and some other areas. Let's talk about the 4 Preps and what that show is going to be about at CAC.
Well, as you had just mentioned about a nostalgia type of music, it's music that people that are my age and obviously your father's age grew up with. A lot of Beach Boy type of material, and they do newer stuff. And the uniqueness about this particular program is that you're not only going to get that 26 miles to Catalina, you're also going to get some Christmas music. And they'll be doing that, and they have a backup band with them, so it's a nice package. It's a nice show. People enjoy it. One of the things they do is they do 12 days of Christmas, and they bring people up from the audience. And when the first time they did it last year in Yuma, it was tremendously successful. They get people laughing and joking and singing, and it's just really a real interesting performance. It's a very low key, nothing to worry about as far as material. I think it's a real family oriented, and I know that's thrown around a lot, but it is.
When you see groups come and tour through, and they're from even 20 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, you wonder, okay, how many of the originals are part of it? But the lead singer is, right, Bruce Belland?
Bruce Belland is from Hollywood High School. He originated the group with 3 other fellows. Obviously, a couple of the fellows have gone off. One of the fellows that he works with right now, Bob, has been with him 29 years.
Wow.
So some of these groups kind of have to pick up an additional singers. People lose their voices, go and join the Army or whatever it might possibly be at that time, and they add these individuals to it, and some of them have been with them, as I said. Bob has been with him for 29 years, and the sound is the same. Bruce is in control. He's the leader, and he's the one that has the name and everything, and he makes sure that the package is the same that it was in the late 50s and early 60s when I heard it in Los Angeles.
How do you credit a band, a group like that has that sustainability? I mean, they're not going to play in an arena that has 20,000 people, but obviously there's a following where they're going. Several thousand people will come see them. Why do they have that longevity?
I think it's the music. People are looking for that kind of music. They can hear the lyrics. They know the music. They feel comfortable with it.
Not a lot of junk in the background.
No, there's not. And again, it's what the market is. And the market is skews to an older group of people, and they're looking for that sort of thing. They're not going to be listening to Journey or the Metallica, they want to come and hear their comfort music.
Now, when I was reading some information about the four preps, and Bruce kind of sent an email, and he talked about, are they going into the studio to record a Christmas album for the first time?
Yes.
That's amazing after 40, 50 years?
Right, exactly. I think they recognize that's part of their touring time. And so they begin to see people requesting holiday songs. And so consequently, they put this together. And the CD, by the way, will be available at the performance on this Saturday night at Pence Theater.
Wow, it's so do they write their own Christmas songs, or do they take classics and rework them in their style?
They work them in their style, and they do basic classic music, and they weave it in with their surf music, if you want to call it that.
How often do the four preps tour? Are they constantly on tour throughout the country, or is
constantly on tour? And they will play a small theater, a supper club, and then all of a sudden they'll be in a 2,000-seat theater in Fullerton, California. I mean, it's just wherever the demand is, they go.
That's it's what I've seen a lot of as bands, especially with the kind of this explosion of casinos around the country as states allow that seems to be a market for musicians like this, where they're able to go and play those venues.
Yes, it is, and that's certainly been a boon. Down here in Arizona, you get a lot of bands, and you get a lot of tribute bands too, and where there's no one that has been part of the group, and all of a sudden you go to see it, but the music is usually similar. And today, with tracks and all of the other electronic things that can be done musically, a lot of people, I think, sometimes are kind of being robbed of the real sound. And these guys, they don't use any kind of electronic amplification,
really,
or any kind of substitute for the real thing.
I think the term is auto tuning or something, where you can anybody can sing and they can change your voice and make it sound good.
Excuse me, one of the bands like that, really an a cappella band that I was very impressed with, and I never thought that I would enjoy something like that, but I really do. 3 Men and a Tenor. Are you familiar with them? Best of Michigan. They come out here and perform quite a bit. We've had them in studio a few times. They are absolutely phenomenal as well.
I'm not familiar.
I've gotten to like that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, it's amazing that how many groups are around.
Without instruments, it blows me away. They're making all the noises and all that. It sounds just like it.
Yes, and sometimes we did a show in Yuma here just in March, and we had a Elvis knockoff, if you want to call it that. And I began to question him because I was looking in something, they were using tracks, and I went over to the sound people, I said, can we turn the monitors down and hear what's really being sung? And the guy was real. He was real. He had Elvis down.
Really?
There are a few of them that can do that, but most of them, they'll bring in tracks. I hope the audience knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Explain that if they're not talking about, if people don't know.
Well, they'll use a single performer, and all of a sudden he sounds like he's got a full-piece band behind him. Well, what they use is tape. They use audio music, and they do those in studio, and they get the tracks the way they want them, as they call them. And then they just go out and they sing in front of a machine rather than in front of an orchestra.
Why would they do that? Cheaper to do?
Yeah.
Easier?
Well, the unions have in Vegas and in New York and Broadway, they've had a terrible problem with the fact that the musicians are out of work because they have all these electronics.
Technology putting people out of work. That's nothing new over the course of time. Let's talk a little bit about your company and the program that you've built and how you ended up partnering with CAC. What is the name of your company?
Well, it's Mike Petite Presentations, and we've been in business 41 years. And we started, I had a group that I was kind of working along. They'd asked me to help out called the Irish Rovers, who have celebrated their 50th anniversary. And I worked with them and their mentor, or my mentor, I should say, brought me in, and kind of I learned the business. And so one of his main things that he taught me to was get the money. That's what he always taught me. Get the money, and don't hang out with the audience, with the artist. Two things: is don't hang out with the artist and get the money. And I would say that that's probably has done well for me over the years. But it's a particularly fascinating business. We've had artists. Perhaps you're aware of Victor Borga. We did Victor for about 8 or 9 years, and then we've done Hal Holbrook as Mark Twain Tonight. We've worked with Baryshnikov on his White Oak project. We've done everything across the board over the years. I've kind of reduced it now as I've gotten older and I want less travel and less headaches. But a fascinating business and fascinating people. Right down here in Arizona, we're able to bring some of the artists that we've been working with that I think fit well with the community.
Now, I know you've had a lot of success. I think that and we'll talk about the other shows. I believe they're going to Yuma and then coming here and going to Yuma. That's sort of the partnership. Talk about how the success of these things in Yuma. What has it been like in Yuma for these shows?
Well, it's been very successful. We started out about 6 or 7 years ago after the city, who was doing promoting, for whatever reason, the city of Yuma didn't understand that if you paid $9,000 for a artist and your gross was $6,000 in sales, you'd be losing money. And so we came in and took over that particular series, and we've been working with the folks down there, part of a redevelopment downtown. The historic theater is 100 years old this year, along with Arizona. And we began to work with them, and we understood the market because that had been what we've been doing over a number of years. So we brought in artists that were tailored to that particular group, to an older demographics, and to the snowbirds. My daughter, who works with me, and we'd be traveling down, and she said, "Look, Dad, there's Saskatchewan, there's British Columbia, all the plates on the automobiles." It was fascinating. So I think it's been successful. We have sold out the last couple of years, 6 show series, so we feel pretty good. But we've kept our prices low. We're getting around $20, such as what we're doing at Pence Theater. And I think people want entertainment, and that's been the key. We're not going to bring anything in that's going to make people think a whole lot. We want people to come sit down, listen to the music. Riders in the Sky, perfect example of the old, if you remember, Sons of the Pioneers, Roy Rogers, this kind of music, and a little shtick that goes with it, a little comedy, and people are entertained, and that's what a lot of that particular market wants. They want to sit there and be entertained and don't want to be challenged.
When I know that you've been working with Dora Tompkins at Central Arizona College and putting all this together, and it's somewhat unlike what we've done before. We've done some similar things in the past, but this is really a lot different. Very affordable, $20 a ticket. But at the time when you first came to CAC and were looking over, the Penn Center was under construction. Yes. Have you had an opportunity since it's been done to go inside it yet?
No, we're looking forward to that on Saturday. But we saw what was happening, and we've been around the theaters enough to know, hey, these folks have got the right thing. They're doing it right. And I should say this, but I will. Yuma Theater, they had, I don't know how many millions of dollars, and they put in new seats, and they put in a popcorn machine, and that was it. And they didn't really do anything else. And so they have the old bones of the 1912 vaudeville house. And it's kind of quaint, but it certainly does have things to be desired over there. Where your theater, Pence Theater, is nice. Seats are nice. It's just a really accommodating theater and an enjoyable theater to sit and listen to music.
One of the big things is kind of the renovation of the sound system, which has got to be the key to everything.
Oh, yeah.
And when you select artists to kind of go out and say, okay, here's an artist, I think these will fit in this. How do you go about doing that? Like this area, Yuma, I can imagine, is probably very heavy winter visitor in that area. Yep. This area has a high winter visitor, but it's got, in this, like the Santan area, 80,000 people where 10 years ago there was nobody. It's had that tremendous growth of commuters that go up to the valley, a lot of families, unbelievable amount of growth. How do you kind of go through and look at an area and decide what might work in those areas?
Well, I think you identified one of the things that we look at. If there is a winter audience group coming in from the snowbirds, that's been our market down in Arizona. We haven't really gone into popular music or music that maybe would attract a 40 age group, or certainly we haven't bothered with the college, because that's not our expertise. You got to go where you feel that you're confident, where you have a business relationship with the management of these various artists, and that you can put together a show that you can feel confident that people will come out. Now, sometimes they don't come out. Sometimes you're just sitting there and you say, what did I do wrong? And you go back and try to figure it out. But mainly, you've got a formula, and it usually works.
For a place like this is the first time have you been in the Phoenix area? Have you worked in this area with your program, or is Pinell County the first time?
No, we worked at the Sun Dome. If anybody remembers the Sun Dome, a few of your listeners don't. Del Webb, when he built his Del Webb out there, that Sun City.
Oh, up north of Phoenix.
Yes, exactly. And that was a 7,000-seat theater. And we were very fortunate to bring Borga in there. We brought Hal Holbrook in there. We brought the Irish Rovers in there. And again, I think maybe that's part of where I learned about that older market. And I include myself in that older market. So kind of understood what they wanted there, and we had some real good successes out there.
You're listening to CAC Live. Tom DiCamillo, Joe Carrero. We're visiting with Mike Petite from the Mike Petite Productions. Right? Presentations. And we're talking about the shows that are going to be coming to Central Arizona College. And we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to try to see if we can get a hold of Bruce Bellin from, I know he's on a flight, and we may or may not be able to, but we're going to try. And then we're also going to talk about some of the upcoming shows, including the New Shanghai Circus and the Atlantic Steps, which are two really interesting programs that families will enjoy. You're listening to CAC Live on KQCK in the Santan Valley.
Are you experiencing computer problems? Is your computer running slow, bogged down with viruses and spyware? You need a reliable and knowledgeable, trustworthy computer service company. Contact Computers, Networks, and More, located in Santan Valley. Get your computer or laptop running in top condition by a certified technician with 20-plus years experience and beta tester from Microsoft. Computers, Networks, and More provides repairs and solutions to any computer-related issue, whether it's software, installation, troubleshooting, updates, or tune-ups. You can trust Computers, Networks, and More. Contact Jeff Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. to schedule an appointment. We can have you up and running quickly, usually within 48 hours. Located in Santan Valley. Computers, Networks, and More. We're here for you. Contact Jeff at 480-729-8899. That's 480-729-8899. Our family pets are such a big part of our lives. That's why Kelly's Critter Clips of Queen Creek and Sun Lakes has been providing pet grooming services for over 10 years. Your dog's comfort is very important to us, so we take the time to treat your pet with care, love, and professional attention it deserves. We welcome any size and breed and feature shampoo and conditioning, styling, flea and tick dips, ear cleaning, nail trimming, and so many other services that will leave your pet looking good and smelling good and feeling great, all at an affordable price. Located in Queen Creek and Sun Lakes, call now for an appointment, 480-655-5066. Kelly's Critter Clips. When you visit Hill Family Dentistry in Santan Valley, dentist Dr. Tim Hill provides each patient with personalized, gentle care that you deserve. Our entire team is dedicated to providing you and your family with services that will make you smile. With a full range of general, cosmetic, and specialty dentistry services that will keep you and your family smiling. Our commitment to our community is to provide outstanding oral health. Hill Family Dentistry is located on 36359 Gansell Road in Santan Valley, diagonally across from Banner Ironwood Hospital. Evening and weekend appointments available. We accept most insurances and have in-office policies available for non-insured. Contact us today at 480-588-8127. Hill Family Dentistry.
As a small business owner, you need to make every dollar count. Phone services are the first indication of quality your customers see in your business.
Get all the latest features at a great monthly cost that can save you money and project your business as a professional entity.
Call Zentris Communications at 1-877-ZENTRIS. That's 1-877-936-8727.
That's 1-877-936-8727.
We're back live on KQCK in the Santan Valley. Tom D. Camillo, Joe Carrero, and this is CAC Live, and we're talking with Mike Petite, and Mike's bringing in a whole cadre of shows to the Don P. Penn Center for Visual and Performing Arts down on the Central Arizona College Signal Peak campus. If you're not familiar where the center is located, it's actually between the cities of Coolidge and Casa Grande. If you're coming off I-10, it's just east of I-10 at the McCartney Road exit, and it's a beautiful theater that's just been renovated. It was reopened here in October. We've talked about it. We had the Gin Blossoms on back in October before we reopened it. Oklahoma was a big event that CAC had in there, and now we have this series that's going to be going on, and we've been talking about the 4 preps coming this Saturday night. Shows at 7 o'clock. You can get tickets at events@cac.com. That's events, and it's AT. Don't use the @ sign. Events@cac.com. 477-SHOW is the number. 520-477-SHOW is the number if you need to call for information. And Joe, why don't you give out the number to the listeners if anybody has questions about Mike's productions, about the Penn Center, about the shows coming up. We'll take some callers today.
All right. You can go ahead and jump in at 480-745-1033. Give us a call, comments, questions, whatever you'd like. And you don't have to go on the air if you don't want to. You can just give it to me, and I'll go ahead and forward it through. Or you can jump on our live chat. You just go to the website, kqck.com or kqcklive.com, and just go to either watch live show or live chat, and you can go ahead and give us your comments that way.
We also like to know when you call in, let Joe know where you're calling from. A lot of the shows here, we have a lot of winter visitors, especially from the Canadian provinces that come down, and we know that we get a lot of calls from Canada. We get calls from the upper Midwest to the show. And if you're listening, please feel free to call in. We can give you information on the shows. A lot of the winter visitors are here at this time of the year. A lot come in after the holidays in this particular area. And but the first of the series is, again, the 4 preps will take place this Saturday night. But Mike, it's not just about the 4 preps. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other shows that are coming in. And one that's really kind of intrigued me is this the Atlantic Steps, and explain what that is.
Atlantic Steps is an Irish show with real Irish performers from Ireland, and they're from the west of Ireland. If you know anything about Ireland, Ireland has 4 provinces and all kinds of different influences in their music. In this particular case, it's more from the country type of people rather than Dublin people or Belfast or Cork. So it's that kind of music, and their dancing is different. They on our particular brochures and some of our promotional materials, see a guy dancing on top of a barrel, and he does it, and it's the resin sound that it makes, and it's real. It's authentic. It's authentic. It's people like river dance, which was excellent. But river dance was just developed, and the whole thing was set up by professionals from RTE, which is Radio, Television, Air, and Orchestra. And that whole thing was very polished and very professional. But this show, even though it's a little polished, it's more like, hey, this is country, this is Camillo, this is the kind of Caitli music that you would see if you were in a little place in Galway or down in up in Ballyhedrine over in the west of Ireland. You would come here and you'd sit down and you'd feel like family, and you enjoy this kind of music. And I think people will really like it because it's different and it's entertaining.
So it really shows the culture of that area of the country.
Absolutely.
It sounds like it'd be a lot of fun, like for families of all ages would enjoy the show.
Yes, because they have young people that dance with them. They have the older fiddler. They have various people that have their talents showcased during the show, and I think people will enjoy that. And it's a high energy.
That's what I was going to say. It's probably extremely upbeat, where they probably have the audience at times up on their feet.
They do, and dancing in the aisles.
Yes, and there's plenty of space to dance in the aisles at the Penn Center. Joe, looks like we got a call.
Danelle from Phoenix just wanted to know, are you going to be bringing river dance to CAC?
Well, that's probably a little big for a CAC show. But if you want to come something that's very affordable, that's really cultural, come to the Atlantic Steps, because that's going to get you, as Mike was just describing, you're really going to get the culture. It's kind of like what I always equate to going to into a British pub or an English pub and having the songs that people sing.
Well, and this particular is more folksy. It's unique. River dance has been knocked off so many times that there's so many versions of it, Lord of the Dance and etc. The point here is that I think you're coming in to the west of Ireland, you're coming into seeing what the folks there really do. They still do this type of music, they still do this type of dancing, and I think people will find it to be a very unique show.
It sounds like a lot of fun. It's one program that I think, and I was thinking personally of my daughter, who's 12 years old and loves music and dance and singing and all this kind of different stuff. And when I saw this one and I saw the picture of the gentleman dancing on the barrel, I thought this would be something that a family could go to and have a lot of fun. Affordable evening out. Don't have to battle a lot of traffic to get to the Penn Center, of going up into the cities. And it should be a lot of fun. How is that? I imagine as this is toured around the country that people are really sort of taken to it.
They've taken to it, but this is the first time they're in the United States.
Oh, really?
Yes, this is. In fact, they have asked me about the Penn's Theater. Could they come in a few days beforehand to kind of get the kinks out and come over here and kind of get acclimated to the U.S. stage? And so it's going to be very unique in as much that it's never been seen before. You see river dance, you see Lord of the Dance, and you see all these, and you certainly don't pay $20 a ticket.
No.
You're getting, I know river dance was as high as $8,500.
So is the Penn Center, will that be their first show in the U.S.?
It will be their first show.
Wow, the Penn Center is going to make history. The American debut of Atlantic Steps. Where did they come up with the name? Do you have any idea?
It's because of the Atlantic. They're close to the Atlantic.
Right along the coast there?
Right, along the coast.
It's funny because when I initially saw the picture, my first impression was sort of the time when immigration took place in coming over to New York City at that time period. And when you look at the dress and everything, is this a time period piece?
I think it's a compilation of all of that. But it's interesting that you mentioned about immigration, because the west of Ireland was the area that was emptied out more than any other part of Ireland when the immigration began, because a lot of rocks are over there. It's not great farmland. There is some farming and some dairy over there, but for the most part, it's a rugged area, and a lot of the folks there have immigrated, and they have connections over here. They'll come to you and they'll say, "You're from Los Angeles area. Do you ever go across, the block there over to San Francisco?" Well, no, folks. They have no concept. They have no concept about how things are over here. They're getting more so because it's a very sophisticated country now. With what they used to have about 10 years ago called a Celtic tiger. The economy was just hot. And now it's unfortunately reverted like all of the countries have, and so it's a little more depressed. So that's probably why these people are traveling too.
Is it that part of the country, you said it's rugged, is it predominantly rural?
Predominantly rural. The major cities on the west of Ireland would be down in Cork, which is kind of southwest, over to Galway, and then further north up into Ballyhadreen and up towards some of the other parts, Antrim area, up in the corner there of Ireland.
You're listening to CAC Live, Tom D. Camillo, Joe Carrero, and let's give out the number again, 480-745-1033. That's 480-745-1033. If you're interested, if you had any questions, if you have comments, if anything about the shows, we're talking with Mike Petite. And Mike is bringing in his several productions this year into the Penn Center. And let's talk about it's the new Shanghai Circus.
That's a very interesting group. That was brought into this country about 10, 12 years ago by the Chinese government. The Chinese government has 6 training centers for acrobats in China itself. And what they were doing is they were going around to each one of these centers and getting performers and bringing them in here into the United States. And then they would go around and do various shows. It was part of the Chinese government's way of saying, look, this is what we do. And it was kind of not political, but they certainly weren't afraid to talk about it. And consequently, they got so successful that the government built a theater in Branson, Missouri. And these groups...
The Chinese government theater? Chinese government built a theater in Branson, Missouri? Wow.
Wonders never cease. Yes.
Right next to Keith Urban's place?
Yeah, along with Andy Williams.
And
so they did that, and they've been successful, and they rotate the groups. So they'll get one group of 30 performers. They have 30 performers. Now, that's a lot of performers to be bringing back and forth, and they have about 3 or 4 groups that they rotate during the year. They also play down in Pigeon Fork, down with Dolly, down in Pigeon Fork, Tennessee, I believe it is. And so they get around, and they're very popular. Again, coming back to entertainment, people really enjoy it. And it's fascinating what these folks can do with their bodies. I mean, they can twist and turn. And they'll pull up, and they usually come in a Winnebago or some kind of configuration like that. And about 13 of them will get out. And they'll be about, they're all about, 3'1" or something. 80 pounds. I mean, they're extremely small people. And you would have to be to do that agility and that kind of thing.
Is the stage... it'd be interesting because when you think of a stage and you think of the different, the Atlantic Steps and the different musical groups that you have, something like this on a stage, is it a little more challenging to kind of have on a stage as opposed to sort of in the round where you think of some like...
Well, what you're referring to is what they call a technical writer. Mm-hmm. And the technical writer is very explicit about what they would like to have. Not all theaters can accommodate them. But with Penn's Theater being so well equipped, they will be able to perform everything from balancing dishes, riding around on bicycles, or hanging from some rope someplace high up in the air. They are very versatile, and they will come in and they try to work to the audience, and they understand what the audience wants, and so they're pretty professional at it.
You're listening to CAC Live, and Joe, I think you got a question?
Yes, Darren from Casa Grande, also a student in CAC, would like to know, do you have any concerts coming to appeal to those of us younger folks that go to CAC?
You can, if you're a student at CAC, you should check with your student. There's a lot of student activities that you can check with. You can also check the catalog that we hear, or go online at events@cac.com, and they're all listed on there. There's really a variation. Like last night, we had the Rocktacular, which was all basically student-based in the Penn Center, which is the students in the entertainment industry technology program. And we'll do another one of those events in the Penn Center coming up in the spring. Dan Bush does a great job with it. So there are some things there that are geared toward different age groups. We're actually trying a lot of different things this year to see what the interest level is.
If I can interject a thought, I think that some of these people would believe that this was just geared all to the older folks. But the Shanghai acrobats, they cross all kinds of age groups. and they're very entertaining. The Atlantic Steps, we find a lot of young people enjoy Atlantic Steps. So you get both kinds of audiences that can mix and I think can enjoy that. I know it's not necessarily geared, or they don't perceive it as being geared for the younger people, but they come in and they enjoy it. It's entertainment.
I think if you enjoy something like Stomp or Blue Man Group is different, but just those kind of high energy programs, if you enjoy that, it is geared for all ages. I know when we were going through the selection or looking at them, we picked a hot one that would gear toward the holiday. Country music was a different one, and then two that were sort of family oriented that were different but would appeal to different age groups. So I would encourage, and their prices are extremely reasonable. I mean, $20 for a show, you can't find $20 for a show. You're going to spend that in gas going up into the valley and back on a night if you're looking for a show. With the new Shanghai Circus, are people kind of mesmerized by what they're able to do when you're kind of been around them? Is that the response?
Yeah, it is, and it's dangerous business. There was one of their performers was killed here 2 years ago, sitting on top of a chair about 20 feet up, and something broke, and that was it. So it's dangerous business. This isn't something that's phonied up, or they have all the chairs glued together or something like that. No, this is a really athleticism. These people can just do tumbling and do a rolling and all these types of exercises that you and I perhaps would look askance at, but they can do it. And they've been trained. Remember, they've been trained since they're probably 7 or 8 years old, and now they're 16 or 17. And they're fairly proficient at what they do.
When a show like that comes in, how much practice do they want on the stage? Like, I know you said Atlantic Steps wants to come in because it's the first time they're coming to the United States, but like a new Shanghai Circus, how much time? Like, I'm sure those performers are anxious to see. Every stage is a little bit different. Every theater is different, slightly different. Is that something that's important to them, to a performer? They kind of want to get there and see what they're going to deal with?
Yeah, they refer to it as a sound check, but in this particular case, it's just a lot of getting through their routines in that particular stage, because all stages are different. All surfaces of the stages are different, and so they have to be extremely careful. They won't play a concrete stage. They only want to play one with the wood covering on it, or the marley floors, as they call them. And they have to work that out, the details, especially distances, because if they're tumbling and they're in a short proscenium stage that's very shallow or very narrow, they could have problems. They could wind up in the wings.
If you practice a certain way all the time and then you're going on different stages, I wonder if they have to adjust their routines.
Yes,
I mean, you're tumbling and expecting to land here, maybe 14 feet out, and you got to land 12 feet out. That's got to be challenging, and you have to be athletic to do that.
Well, they have their director with them, and they travel. The Chinese, interesting. They have about 4 directors with them, and they're all talking, of course, Chinese, and I haven't a clue what they're doing, but they seem to know what they're doing, and obviously the performers do, and they direct everybody, and they pretty well got it down.
Joe, we got another caller.
Sally from Coolidge says, I've seen the Atlantic Steps and the Shanghai Circus. They're really awesome shows. Give it a try. 24 years old, and I've seen them and love them.
That's awesome.
Boy, that's
there you go.
Yes, great.
That's a great endorsement, and like you said, for the why don't you give? You have the dates for those shows? They're coming up. The Atlantic Steps.
The Atlantic Steps will be here on Wednesday, January 30th. Shanghai is on Tuesday, January 15th. Four Preps we know is going to be here Saturday, and Riders in the Sky are. I think it's February 9th on Saturday night. That's the Riders in the Sky.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about everybody's favorite, the Riders in the Sky. You're listening to CAClive. Tom Camillo, Joe Carrero on KQCK in the Santan Valley.
Are you ready to start taking control of your future and maximize your earning potential? Central Arizona College has smaller class sizes and personalized attention to help you compete in today's tough job market. CAC now serves Santan Valley and Queen Creek. The The CAC Santan Center is located in the shops at Copper Basin on Hunt Highway, behind Barrow's Pizza. Stop in and see how taking classes at CAC costs a fraction of a state university, and your credits can transfer. So, if you want to earn real money, you need to learn real skills at Central Arizona College. Enroll in classes today by calling 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu or call 480-677-7825 or visit www.centralaz.edu. Central Arizona College, your way. Are you having plumbing or septic problems? No worries. Call Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Been in the Valley since 1996. Family owned and operated. Proudly serving East Valley and surrounding areas. With a full range of services from drain cleaning, septic tank pumping, general maintenance and repairs, inspections for the sale of your home. They provide excellent and courteous service for all your plumbing and septic needs. We're not satisfied till you are satisfied. Licensed, bonded, and insured. Call today. Cartwright's Queen Creek Plumbing and Septic Service. Contact Denise at 480-987-8051. That's 480-987-8051. Hi, Marie here for wannasing.com. Are you looking for professional DJ or karaoke services for your next holiday party or get-together? wannasing.com can provide the best in sound, lighting, and a professional MC to host your next event. Whether it be a company party, birthday party, wedding, or any occasion, wannasing.com is ready to provide the fun and make it a night to remember for years to come. Call 480-664-8801. That's 480-664-8801. Mention this radio ad and receive a special discount for your next fun event. wannasing.com.
Welcome back to CAC Live. Tom D. Camillo, Joe Carrero, and we are live in the Santan Valley today. We're talking with Mike Petite. And Mike's bringing in 4 terrific shows to Central Arizona College's Don P. Penn Center for Visual and Performing Arts. The 4 preps come this Saturday night at 7 o'clock in the Penn Center. There are tickets available, but this is what we've told everybody. Try to purchase them in advance. We do sell tickets at the door, and you could show up, but we have had some really strong pushes at the door, and we don't like to turn anybody away. Events at CAC.com. That's events, CAC.com, and you go to that site. You can purchase your tickets online. 520-477-SHOW is the number to call in case you're interested or had any questions. We're also bringing in on Tuesday, January 15th, is the New Shanghai Circus on the 15th, and then on January 30th is going to be the Atlantic Steps, and that's the one I want to bring my daughter to the New Shanghai Circus and the Atlantic Steps. I think those are the 2 big ones. My wife would enjoy the Riders in the Sky, so that's one I want to bring her to. And that's going to be February 9th at the Penn Center. All the shows are $20. All the shows start at 7 o'clock, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And if you haven't experienced the Penn Center, the new Penn Center, it's a very comfortable place to go. The sound system's outstanding. It's just a lot of fun. Now, the one show we haven't touched on was the Riders in the Sky. Now, I know they performed years ago at the Penn Center, and this is a big time group that is well known across the country. Talk about the Riders in the Sky.
Well, Riders in the Sky have been at it for 33 years, so they just aren't just starting up. They've been there a while. They are extremely accomplished. One of their fiddler player this year was inducted into the National Hall of Fiddlers fame, and we've had them as on the CMA Awards, the Country and Western Awards. They've been given Entertainer of the Year a couple of years ago. And they're, again, musically, they're a lot of fun. if people go back to Sons of the Pioneers and those kinds of groups with Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, they kind of do that type of music, Tumblin' Tumbleweed, Cool Water, songs that I guess you can call them comfort songs, old country western songs that you haven't heard. And they have their little comedy bits that they bring in. And again, it's a show that I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy. And they are constantly touring. They don't tour just 8 months a year. They tour 12 months a year, and they're on the road. Another group that comes in Winnebago, and they just really work at it, and they work at the audience. The older groups are very sensitive to the response from the audiences, and they make absolutely sure that you're getting your money's worth, and they're up there on stage working at it, and they don't just put it on automatic.
Do you get a sense sometimes with those groups, like with the Four Preps and with the Riders in the Sky, that that you say they work at it? It seems like they really want to connect with the audience, and that it's important to them, because you see other bands come in, and they'll come in, they show up, they roll out on the stage, do their show, and they do their job, and then they leave and go on. But it seems like some of these type of shows, it's just really they just enjoy doing it.
Exactly. They enjoy what they do because they've been at it for so long, and there's been audiences that performers like Riders just really love the audience, and they think they're great. I had a performer years ago called Victor Borga, and one night, and he was a tremendously successful performer, comedian, pianist, and I was doing a show in Santa Rosa, California, and he kind of peeked out of the curtain, and the audience started to applaud at him, and he said, and he kind of jumped back, and he said, "They still love me." There is a certain amount of love that happens between a Riders in the Sky and an audience. These people enjoy it. And another thing about the Riders in the Sky, they do what they call meet and greet. I've had performers, they couldn't get off the stage fast enough into the dressing room, out to the car, and back to the hotel. These people, the Riders in the Sky, will stand around after the show, and you want to talk to them about their days in Branson, Missouri, they will talk to you. They will talk to you about anything that you want to talk to, because they really enjoy what they do, as we just said. And they look forward to meeting with the audience. Not too many performers like to do that, but Riders in the Sky really enjoy it. And I think all of these groups that we have right now, all of them will be doing meet and greet after the show.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's an awesome, because it's almost like they recognize that they have they basically have a life where they're able to do what they want to do, and then they realize there's a responsibility with it. It's almost like they've accepted a response. Maybe there's not a responsibility, but it's almost like they've accepted this responsibility that, hey, these people are paying money. They really like us. I get to do this because they've bought our records or like watching us. So we're going to hang out afterwards to talk to the fans.
It's mutual admiration. Even the Chinese will come out. Now, you aren't going to talk to them too much, but they will, they'll pose with you and take pictures with them. And it's a good feeling. And I like these type of artists because I think the audience has a certain, there's a mutual admiration.
You think the audience senses when there's something genuine going on up on a stage, as opposed to what you said, they know they're going to be out the back door back to the hotel?
I like to think so, that the audience knows the difference. But there are some performers currently that are that way, and the people still go to the shows and still enjoy them. But these groups that we have, and we picked out the Riders, are particularly sensitive to the people that they're with. And they're country people, so they like to get around and talk to people and just and they'll have a good time here.
You're listening to CAClive on KQCK in the Santan Valley. We have about 10 minutes left in the show, and we're talking with Mike Petite about the shows that are coming to the Don P. Penn Center for Visual and Performing Arts. Events at CAC.com. That's events, A-T, not the @ sign, but events at CAC.com. 520-477-SHOW is the number to call. You can purchase tickets online. Tickets are just $20. I know that there's And I don't know if the deadline's passed, but I know there was a series. You could get a series discount with the 4 buying the 4 shows.
It should be good up until Saturday night.
Saturday night, so you can get a discount if you buy all 4 shows. And we've actually had, interesting enough, in the office doing this online. A lot of people really like it. And a lot of people, when they're visitors, a lot of times people say, well, they don't have computers. Well, that's just not true, because they have grandkids and they're connecting with them. But there is a certain group that are a little comfortable charging online, and we've gotten a run of people coming into the office, and we do it for them. They come into the office and they do it. But I noticed a lot of people buying packages that really just wanted to say, hey, this is really worth it.
It's guaranteed seating. In other words, they don't have to worry. They'll know they have we have people over in Yuma that have been coming for 6 years. They have the same seat every year. They re-up every year because they know that's where they're going to sit. And their friend Fred that's coming in from Saskatchewan, he's going to be next to them. And they just have a good time with the audience. So series not only is obviously you save some money, but you get comfortable coming to the theater. And I think people enjoy that series packages.
It's like having season tickets to like baseball, where you go every night, and you have the same group of people around you all the time, and you kind of develop these relationships. And it's funny you said that the people are probably comfortable going to those same seats, and the music is comfort music that they really enjoy, and that's probably a good. It just seems to work.
It is, and I'm always amazed at if we have a 7 o'clock showtime, they will show up at 6. And they want to get into the theater, sit down, and get comfortable, and as you just said, have some chit chat with their friends, and it's a good experience. And live entertainment, we're so looking at it, so many DVDs and television and cable and all of this. It's kind of interesting with live entertainment. There's a real feel for it, and it's, I think, something that especially this particular audience really enjoys.
It's funny. We took my wife and daughter to a holiday show down in Mesa for kids. It was a children's theater, but a high level one, and it was pretty good. But it's when I was going, I'm going, okay, I'm taking it from my daughter, and but you go there and you lose yourself in the live theater, as opposed to watching something on TV. Even going to a movie theater is better, I think, than watching it in a DVD.
Well, you mentioned Mesa. If I put in a plug here for Hal Holbrook as Mark Twain tonight on February the 9th is at the Mesa Theater. And here's live entertainment. Here is a lot of literary background with the Mark Twain. And if you don't know who Hal Holbrook is, go see Lincoln. He's one of the performers in Lincoln, and fine actor. And he will be there on February 9th in Mesa.
How do you go about choosing when you're looking at acts? I know you probably have ones you work with all the time, but if something new comes up, what's kind of a criteria that you look at to say, hey, this might work?
The market, where are you going to play them? If you're going to play them in Salem, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, or you're going to play the artist out in Mesa, you have to kind of look at. And also, I've been with Hal now. We've been doing 3-4 shows a year over a 26-year period. And so consequently, we're pretty comfortable with what he does. And it's a different audience. So you got to, in fact, I'm meeting today later on with the people and the staff from Mesa. How are we going to market this? It's a different area. This isn't anything that's going to be a slam dunk. So you work at it.
It's are there sometimes, do groups approach you, or do you go out and seek groups, or is it kind of both ways?
The internet now has deluged me with all of these performers, and some of them are pretty good acts, and then some of them you look at how are they even making a living. But yes, basically there's organizations. I belong to a Western Arts organization. There's APAP, which is again a big presenters group, and so you have these associations that usually have these conferences, and that's where you find out. And then Arizona there's a group called Arizona Presenters, and they're all the presenters that do business in Arizona, from Prescott to Safford and to Mesa, and these people all get together, and sometimes we do what they call in the trade block book. We'll take writers, the writers are going to be here, the writers are going to be over in Yuma, and they will be somewhere in Prescott. and they'll do bang Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So economically, that's how you get your sort of economies of scale of being able to keep the ticket prices low. They come to the area. They're guaranteed 3 shows. You know, it's funny because over the course, and I've been with CAC for, it'll be, let's see, 6 years coming up here in January, and there'll be times I'll get inundated with performers from overseas, and they'll want to come over. Russia, Germany, so a lot of the former Soviet bloc countries we'll just get calls, emails, and phone calls sometimes, and it's you know, there's a lot of them seem to be classic artists, you know, classical type, but it's really hard to kind of figure out what's good and what would sell, you know.
Well, you have to get DVDs. You have to get some, what should I say, interviews that they've been had with newspapers, etc. But the audience, the international artists, are having more of a difficult time now in the last few years because of the IRS has said no more. You're not going to come over and ride around our highways and be using our facilities, and you're going to have to pay back. And now the IRS has come down very, very hard on international. Well, it's not so much the performer as they're looking for the promoters and the venues, and they want to say, wait a minute, you've got to give us back our monies. At least that's how they look at it.
Wow, that's interesting. It's because, you know, when I get a phone call for something like that, that's things I haven't even thought about. But when I get a phone call, I'm trying to figure how would a performer that does classical piano that's located in Moscow play in Pinell County.
Well, he has an agent.
You know,
he has an agent, and the agent, usually the bigger agencies have everything broke down by territories. And so we have an agent for Atlantic Steps, and his area is strictly California, Arizona, New Mexico. And so when a performer contacts the agency or vice versa, then they set it up, and then that manager or agent in this particular case goes out and gets all of his contacts. I have certain agents, Jim Murth I've been dealing with for 25 years, and he brings in foreign acts. And he will call me and say, we're going to come through this area. And that's another way that we find out about the artist.
We just have a minute here left, and just want to remind everybody, this Saturday night, the Four Preps will be performing in the Don P. Penn Center for Visual and Performing Arts, 7 p.m. Tickets, go to events@cac.com, events@cac.com. 520-477-SHOW is the number to call, and you can purchase tickets now for the upcoming shows. Tuesday, January 15th, a terrific show. The New Shanghai Circus on January 30th is a Wednesday night. Atlantic Steps, and then Riders in the Sky, February 9th, and all the shows are at 7 o'clock. The shows are $20 a piece. There are tickets available, but we encourage you to purchase them in advance if you can, because of the popularity of the Penn Center. We have a lot of people just coming to experience the theater, and guess what? You come experience the theater, you're going to come and experience great shows. And Mike, we want to thank you for coming from Anaheim out to visit us today. If people in Yuma, and we do get listeners from Yuma, is there contact number if they want to see shows out there, or contact information?
The best way is to Yuma Show Tickets. It's online. It's perhaps the best method to do that. Or contact the Arts Center in downtown Yuma, which is in the same building as the Yuma Historic Theater. There's someone there from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock every day. So that would be the best ways to.
That'd be great. So, and again, Central Arizona College located here in Pinell County. And if you're interested in coming to the Penn Center, again, events@cac.com. So, Mike, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Joe, we look forward to seeing you. I know you want to bring your family to some of the shows. And,
absolutely.
And I know it'll be a good time.
Especially the circus. I'm looking forward to that one.
So it's a great time. It's a beautiful venue, and you won't be disappointed. We'll catch you next week on CAC Live. For Joe Carrero, I'm Tom D. Camillo. Thanks for listening to KQCK in the Santan Valley.
When you visit Hill Family Dentistry in Santan Valley, Dentist Dr. Tim Hill provides each patient with personalized, gentle care that you deserve. Our entire team is